In these times, you have questions, and man, I've got some answers. This is my give back time. This is my give back time for all of you. On Instagram, I get around here and see if we can ask any questions or what's going on. Hi, Lisa. And see what I can do to go ahead and help. My name's Nick. I'm a personal trainer, and I talk about this stuff on this channel. Because mostly I've lived through it. As I said, this is the Q&A session where we ask, things about what's happening, what's going on. And I got a few questions over here that came out via email. Hi, Brian. A few questions that came out via email and a few questions that came out on other social media and DM. So I'd start with those. If you have a question, definitely go ahead, put it down below, and see what we can do. So one question that came in here was, what do you mean by your relationship? What is it? What do you mean by what it means with your relationship with food? Okay. So we have to think of food as fuel. I think the way people react to food is, we'll get out and we'll grab something and, or we'll go ahead, I'll eat whatever I want. And, people won't even think twice about eating a bag of Doritos. And I don't mean a little tiny bag of Doritos that big. I'm talking about a large bag of Doritos and just kill the entirety of it. We've got to think about what food that loves you. Does food love you back? And what we mean by that is, does it sustain you? Does it feed you? Does it make you feel better? That's the big part of where you got to get into your head. I'd say it many times in a joking manner. Little Debbie does not love you. Wendy does not love you. Wendy was created by people, even though Wendy is based on a real person, Dave Thomas's daughter. We've got to think, you can't go, oh, okay, I'll just get it. I'll just get food. Because if you eat the right food, food sustains you. Food makes you feel better. A cheeseburger versus a good plate of fish. If you're not a seafood fan, that probably two options probably sound horrible, but you just got to say, okay, what's better? Okay, the seafood is better, more natural. Normally, if something, you go through a process, it's not flash frozen, you could cook it real easily, and exactly what's in it, the better. I mean, that's the more towards the nature of what you need to have. And we've got to be able to say, okay, what do I want to put in my body? Is it going to be a giant pie of ice cream, or am I going to have a big plate of fruit? Fruit is from nature. That's the better way. That's the better way we're going to do it. And another question came in. How are you dealing with COVID-19? What are the best practices for someone who's working out? The question went on with, should we wear masks in gyms, or a lot of this question came in here. Should we wear a mask in a gym, or, what should we do? Okay. COVID-19, I have my good days. I have my bad days. Honestly, I personally think it's going to blow over eventually, but it's not going to be easy. This is going to stay around for quite some time. However, I think we're going to learn to live with it very quickly. Knowing, just speaking of the American way of life, I think we are going to be fine. I don't think we're people that could be boxed in for way too long. My wife and I took a ride for a little while today just to get out, get some air, and we had a good chat, good times. We got out, people were getting exercise, and it was nice to see people not in 1080p, but felt good, felt like it was a good thing to do. So But at least we're getting out, we're getting together. The second part is, what to do with mask in gyms. Yes, definitely wear a mask in a gym. But what I would do, like I have a mask on right now that's more of a face shield. But it's kind of all messed up here. This is more of a ninja mask. If I could actually straighten this out in a more apt time, I probably would. But this mask itself, covers and gives enough room to breathe. There's a few air holes in it that I've had to cover because of just generally didn't do much work. But if you have a face shield that gives you some room to breathe as well, you don't want to cover yourself like this. And right out here, just no way to breathe whatsoever. I mean, you're exerting energy, pushing and breathing. Be careful with it. Only although if you're super close to someone, like as a trainer, I mean, I've definitely I've been doing my classes virtually, but I did see trainers recently when 6 feet is not possible, they have a mask on, and we're not touching people, but definitely correcting forms and absolutely clean every machine as much as you possibly can. And for one, I have been a little bit ignorant about this in the past, but I personally have got to do way better with that. I've cleaned the machine, but it's definitely making sure you get a spray bottle, spray the thing down, get a piece of paper, wipe it all down thoroughly for the next person, and then dry it off. And I think that's something we've got to be very, very careful with. I could see in the future as well. I could see gyms being by appointment. I think a lot of boutique gyms do this now, where you have like an hour and a half, and calling to reserve time, I think would be a very, 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 very high thing for the foreseeable future. Not forever, of course. Nothing is forever. Everything's temporary. And that's really it. So, yeah, those are the only two questions that came in via email. Nothing came in on social media. So, anybody got anything else? Please put anything down. I'll check and see if there's anything here on my other stuff. Okay, one more came in here. Actually, so we got one down here. All right. How do you deal with anxiety when you've become aware of it or realize what's making you anxious? Okay. So, the thing is with anxiety happens for a reason, and once you're aware of it, the way I see it is the anxiousness comes about, and no matter what, you've got to have a plan. I get anxious all the time. Like, I wake up every single day scared about something, and my first gut reaction is, what am I going to do about it? Like, like most of the world, I hate being anxious, but I've recognized that it's a part of me. And I say to myself, all right, I have anxiety, and I sit with it. I try to figure out, what can I do? And if I can't do anything about it, then really, what is the reason of the anxiety is the second question. Because it's, fear is fine, but fear is an action. Fear becomes action, and fear is like, okay, what can I do to run with this? How can I do this? And I also believe, fear and anxiety shows that you care. Give you a recent example with this. Like I had I don't know if I really want to tell that story, but I had an incident with my uncle, and he wants me to apply for a particular job at this company that he knows I would do very well with, and he retired after almost 4 decades with them, and it's like, well, I don't know, like you've got to try it, and the interview didn't really go so hot, but I found evidence as to why I was never hired. They offered me a job, and it went in my spam folder. So I never saw the email that said, hey, the class starts this particular day. And I went, all right, shoot. So obviously he's been there almost 4 decades. So I had to I'm like, hey, do I tell him? And I went into it. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's going to stick his neck out for me and, probably going to look like a fool, but, he's retired. He don't care. So I quickly went ahead. I'm like, all right, I got to send him a quick text. I'm like, hey, uncle, I'm fine. I found it. I'm going to try to see if I can salvage this. I'm so sorry. And that's really that, and so it's really, once you're aware of it or realize what makes you anxious, then you've got to take action towards it, because once it happens, then, work your way towards it. It could be something small, like a quick text message to try to diffuse it. But once you start taking action with fear, the better you're going to be. Okay. Another question came in. Why should we not eat fast food? You know where it is, okay? Fast food comes in, you go to this place, but you know where it is, but you don't know how many hands it's come through, what it took to preserve that, how long it's been someplace. I used to work at a Wendy's, and one of the things was such a shocker. I used to eat the grilled chicken sandwiches all the time. Never really was a big fan of beef, in my teen years and pretty much all through my life. I never really cared for cheeseburgers. I had an addiction to them, but, I'm like, beef, I could, if you give it to me, I'm fine, but I'm not going to scrounge for it, I learned that the chicken comes from farms, but usually it's frozen, and we don't see it till 2 to 3 weeks after it's been picked off the farm. And that was just like, what, really? Like, how does it keep fresh? Or what, and the burgers too, how do they keep fresh? Wait, what? So they put preservatives in there in order to be able to keep them tasting well. Because really all you do is just say, I cooked on the grill for a long time with Wendy's, and working and everything and doing everything I could. All you really did was just put it in a heat vacuum chamber, and it just, until it was done, put it in there, set a timer, done, good, and that was it. That was really that. Let me see if there's any other questions, but don't, do it, because you don't know where they are, really. All right, so I'm going to round this one out here. If you always have questions, you can email nicktaberfitness@gmail.com, or hit me up on social media, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram are my two ones that I stick around on a lot. Any questions, definitely put them in there. Okay? Have yourself an amazing day, and thank you very much. As always, we climb, and we'll see you in the next video.